Welcome to the Real Chili Podcast.
And the Golden Eagles of Marquette University in Milwaukee are bound for the Final Four for only the third time ever.
5 seconds left. Marquette down by one, trying to avoid the upset. Blue the drive, the left hand. It's good. 1 second to play. Vander Blue has put Marquette in front by one.
And I want to win every day as basketball players, as students, and I want to win every day, most importantly, as people.
Live.
Welcome aboard, Marquette fans from coast to coast. What a beautiful Monday evening. Who cares if it's the beginning of the week? Because holy freaking crap, don't give me any of the bullshit out there. None of you thought this was possible. God knows I didn't. Unbelievable. Marquette upsets number 9 Creighton tonight, 89-84. This is the Real Chili Podcast. I'm Brian Henry. It's Pete Mohan. It's Pete Worth. Pete Worth, what do you got?
I'll start. It's Monday morning. My brain's still not working correctly, and the beer doesn't help. But Pete Mohan was actually one that called this result. For that. I was certainly in that camp of not believing this possible, but kudos to Pete because he believed.
I believed only because of the illogical that surrounds the Marquette basketball program always. And I did sort of anticipate the similar pattern as the sequence of Oklahoma State,
really firmly believe
followed by Wisconsin. And again, we lose, head scratcher UCLA, offense can't figure it out. And then all of a sudden, a couple days later, brand new team. We got a top 10 team we're playing against. Guess we got to be a sweet team now. So that's pretty much what Marquette did tonight. They played maybe the best game overall of the Wojo era, maybe Wojo's best coaching job of his tenure at Marquette. This game was jam-packed on both ends, and it was a great basketball game. There's so much to unpack. What do you got, Brian?
There are dozens of different areas that we have to get to. I'll back it up to what Pete said and go big picture. This was, in my opinion, I think undoubtedly, Pete, this surge pass and became the best.
You're going to have to specify on the Pete you're talking to, Brian.
Pete Mohan, the one who was just speaking, not the one that was sitting, mute in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen.
Jeez.
This was the best win of the Wojo era. With all due respect to the upset of Villanova 4 years ago and what we saw against Wisconsin 2 weeks ago, the Villanova win is a one-off. It kind of happens, and there's nobody who thought that obviously we were a better basketball team than that Villanova team. This Marquette group tonight, while I think Creighton is as a whole better, I think we'd all agree with that.
I did fully expect Caden Reinhardt to go off in that game.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure
you
all
did. Remember me clearly predicting that.
Everybody remembers that. That is a Creighton team that is a solid forward away from being a legit national championship contender, not just Final Four. The way they move the ball is exceptional. They shoot it incredibly well. And while we threw some pretty good punches in the first half of that game, they still had us at a nice arm's length 9-point distance. It felt like they'd extend it and that would be the game. This team came out of halftime with adjustments made and completely turned the game on its ear in the first 4 minutes, throwing punches back and then extending the lead. Pete Worth, Pete Wojciechowski's best game at Marquette, yes or no?
Yes, for sure. Justin Lewis came out, started the second half. We talked about it at halftime amongst us about how Creighton has rendered Theo John useless kind of in the past. And
obsolete.
In the first half, obsolete. Sorry. Yeah, obsolete. Not useless. But but it definitely renders his game obsolete with the way they move the ball, kind of Villanova style, where the ball never moves. And Justin Lewis came out, started that second half. And that was the right move. The substitution pattern all game was strong. I thought the right decision to keep it to 7 and not mess around with Dexter or I know Jose Perez hasn't played much, but sitting. Actually, I thought Jamal Cain getting in foul trouble actually benefited us a little bit with how well Greg was playing. So yeah.
Yeah, this was the Greg Elliott game, and we are going to have to. But you're right, Pete. The rotations he pushed all the right buttons tonight.
He did, and that's a game where Creighton is so talented offensively, where you're just watching that game. I'm watching that game, thinking, all right, they got it to 10, it's over, or okay, we're hanging in there. We're having a valiant effort keeping this game within, a few possessions, but Creighton always has that threat of just blowing it open in a matter of like 3 or 4 possessions when they're shooting it as well as they can. And so I was on edge, that entire first half and then even going in, kind of just watching like, okay, well, we're hanging in there. I'm really pleased with the effort, but I still don't think that we're going to win the game. And the second half just blew our expectations out of the water. It was fantastic.
I think that you're right. It felt like there were times where we're like, yeah, here comes the 20-point deficit,
Mm-hmm.
But then you also have to look back on it and be like, they were really on fire for periods of time. Creighton was, Ballack, I guess he wants to be called Ballack now, is what they've reported, which is fine. That's fine. He was 5 of 6 on threes.
He was locked in
at one point. Maybe it was even 6 of 7 in the first half. And, he couldn't be stopped. But then, think they regressed a little bit in the second half. And I think that you alluded to it earlier. And this was Greg Elliott. That was kind of like the first real momentum switcher of this game.
Looking like Reggie frickin' Miller, the way he
right. The very first play they ran for him, where he came all the way across the formation and just hit a catch and shoot 3 from the wing, drilled it, and then they drew the same play up for him again when we needed a key shot, nailed it again. And I mean, it just seemed like when we needed a shot of adrenaline, Greg Elliott was there to provide that energy, but not just energy. We got enough guys now that can provide energy. The fact that we could get a guy to provide energy and scoring punch off the bench is a huge change.
And I just want to add, he was making shooters shots. Like those were shots that, like legit 3-point shooters make. Tough off the catch. And that one from the corner
that's as quick as I've seen him. Pete Worth, that's as quick as I've seen him catch and shoot in his 4 years here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't capable of it. It just seems so much more apparent tonight. Those Creighton defenders close out quickly, and he was able to all in one motion get it up and go.
I do want to remind the fan base, though. For those of you who didn't necessarily follow Greg Elliott's recruiting or his high school play, but he was like, a lot of guys are scorers in high school, guys that make it to college, but he was a scorer's scorer. He regularly was putting up 30 points a game as the lead guard for his high school team. And there's never been a situation where he's ever come close to being needed to, create his own shot for this offense. But that's not to say that he never had that skill and that ability to be a scorer and a bucket creator. It's just that we've never had the opportunity to unlock that for his game. And the fact that he is seemingly healthy and able to show that side of his game is huge for a team who's been looking for answers on offense and guys willing to step up and take big shots.
Well, we're into the Greg Elliott. There's so much to hit to. That Greg was obviously unbelievable. I want to go rapid fire right now. ping pong back and forth between the two of you. This is all it's going to be. I'm going to give you a name. Let's start with Mohan. Let's start with Worth. Then we'll go to Mohan. Give me your immediate 10 to 15 second reaction to their performances tonight, because there were a lot of positive things to zero in on. We just did Greg. I'm going to go with the other guy off the bench, Pete Worth, Justin Lewis. 11 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. What do you say?
Savvy. Savvy play, smart play, clutch shots. Those couple jumpers he hit, they kind of went unnoticed, but were big to keep us in the game. Just makes winning plays.
Mohan, same for you with him?
I mean, yeah, if you want to talk about Justin Lewis, but for me, this game was all about Dawson Garcia. This was his coming out party. He showed his all-around game and his offensive talent that had nothing to do with three-point shooting. He struggled a little bit early in the game, but he shot 6 of 8 on 2-pointers and put up a double-double. Huge.
That was a man's 14 and 10. He was assertive and aggressive in the way that he grabbed offensive boards.
6 offensive rebounds for Dawson Garcia.
And they needed all of them. They needed every last one of them to win this game. And massive for Dawson.
So we relied on our 2 freshman forwards to win the game. Basically. Absolutely.
Well, but they're not the. Well, let's continue going. Pete got to Dawson. Right. Pete Worth. I'm going back to you. Kobe McEwen. The consistency continues to be their scoring. 18 points, 5 of 9 shooting, 6 of 7 from the line, and throw in 4 assists. I mean, this is what we're getting from Kobe every night.
We're getting it from him. You take the good with the bad. I mean, he does turn the ball over more than us fans would like, and we've grown accustomed to that. But he's made enough winning plays to solidify his role as a necessary component of this team.
And then Pete Mohan
solidified is an understatement when the dude plays 38 minutes. I mean,
he doesn't come off the court.
Huge 38 minutes. When was the last time we saw that high minutes other than Marcus, in a 40-minute
Marcus
game?
Didn't get to 38, 39,
right.
40 too often. I mean, I remember at the end of when basically Buzz Williams' first year, they rolled out a 6-man rotation. He'd leave Jarrell and Wesley Matthews on the court for 40 minutes a game and just wouldn't take them out because there was nobody else to put in. Mm-hmm. But not often seeing that minute load. And then end it with Pete. Look, it's been a slow rise, and it's not shocking where we got DJ Carton. What more do you say? 20 points, 6 of 13 shooting, NBA caliber finishes in the lane tonight. Some huge 3-pointers, throw on 5 boards and 5 assists. He was everything.
You said it. I mean, best point guard we've had since Dominic James. All right,
you are going to keep repeating that until the damn cows come home.
All righty. Forget about Oklahoma State. Just erase that out of your memory. No, he was making NBA plays left and right. That 15 or the 12-foot floater in the lane. That
was beautiful. I jumped out of my chair when he hit that. I was like, "Holy shit!"
That was beautiful. And in my opinion, the biggest shot of the game, that 3 from the corner when Creighton was going on their big run when we were up 12. That kind of stopped the bleeding. Got our confidence back a little bit. They threw that weak-ass zone at us, and I thought it was on DJ a little bit that he was starting to kind of force things once that zone came in, and we kind of lost what had gotten us to that point. And I was like, don't you blow this game out of stupid plays, young men. But that 3 was what turned it around.
Did you say it with that tone of voice when you were
I did. I said it in a very
you went to like a Shakespearean style.
I just reprimanded. I'm practicing being my fatherly tone because that's coming
true.
Very soon.
Which you will be very soon, which is wonderful. Pete,
I believe that DJ Carton also hit that huge 3. Yeah, I'm seeing it here on the play-by-play. 2 minutes left, and Creighton had cut it down to 76-75. And DJ hit a big 3 with 2 minutes left.
And you lead me right to I want to go from Pete Mohan, the main individuals that were the reason this game turned out the way it was, to that final 2 minutes. Because we're going to circle back to some of the stuff before it. But, oh my God, did that nearly kill all of us. Like, you just said it. Creighton almost completely erases the lead. It's down to 1. The 1-3-1 zone is stifled. At exactly the 2-minute mark, DJ hits that 3 that just made you at least breathe. By no means were they out of the woods, but it obviously gave them a window to have a 4-point game. Greg Elliott, I forget who threw it, but someone made a terrible pass. The dude with the goggles with Creighton. Elliott with the steal, and then Dawson Garcia comes back the other way and hits that shot on the nice pass by Greg to put us up by 6. I mean, that 35 seconds right there, probably, if we're talking just purely on winning, biggest sequence of the game for both of you?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, your 1-point game, you missed that. They never let him actually take the lead, which was huge. Right.
That was what was able to us to kind of seal off the victory and get it to that kind of foul shooting time. And,
right.
And luckily Creighton missed a boatload of free throws, which helped us out.
I want to read some more rebounding stats off here. We got the Ken Palm box score up. And, rebounding, of course, you could look at it as raw numbers, but really rebounds are you want to look at it as a percentage of the missed shots, right? So of Creighton's missed shots, of Marquette's missed shots, they offensive rebounded 44% of those misses.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. That you're getting an offensive board on almost half of your misses.
Say that again for the people, Pete. Just that 44%?
Offensively rebounded 44% of our misses.
Wow.
And then not only that, here I'll hit you with another stat. Marquette out 3-point shot Creighton. We shot 57% from 3, 12 of 21 versus Creighton 44%. Still, smoking hot, but we outshot them. They shot 44% from 3. And it's hard to do that.
And I want to add to that note, Pete, Alan Bykowski in the comments always chirping in and yelling at us. 37 second half possessions from Marquette, averaged 1.46 points per possession. That is insane.
That's insane. That's awesome. Because we haven't shown anywhere close to that level of offensive prowess yet this year.
But to do that, that's a little bit of everything, right? That's skill, prowess. You got to get a little hot, right? A guy like Greg has to knock down some threes. You got DJ throwing in 12-foot runners, like Pete said. That's a perfect storm.
Well,
you're not going to hang 54 points in a half on a team of that caliber very often. I'm not saying
what else happened was the fact that we didn't turn the ball over in the second half.
Right. Massively. Thank you for getting to that. We buried that too soon. Took care of the ball exceptionally well in the second half.
Took care of the ball and fed and exploited the mismatches when they presented themselves.
Loved it.
It's so nice to be able to go inside.
When they went small and they wanted to switch that screen with Dawson, it was an immediate dive down and whatever they could do to get him the ball there and either force their defense to collapse and kick, or he was attacking the basket and scoring. Just the possessions we got out of that, where Dawson's versatility is, hey, he can slide around, he can shoot, he can play all over the place. I'll tell you what, and defensively too, we should not bury this. Defensively, Pete Worth, I thought, and I didn't think it was possible. I mentioned at the top how well they pass the ball, Creighton, how fast they are with it, how quickly it zips around the perimeter. Marquette's ability to close out aggressively under control until about the last 2 minutes of the game and not foul. The best we've seen it under Steve Wojciechowski, without question.
Yeah, outside of the most critical parts of the game.
Well, we're going to get to that.
That's the thing about not having Marcus Howard is that against Creighton, nobody has to hesitate if Marcus Howard is running at them. Whether he's got a running start to try and block your shot, or if he's trying to contest flat-footed, whatever. There are zero contests, and that's essentially a wide open 3 for a Creighton player.
But with
that's different now.
But with the way Creighton works their action offensively on switches, Marquette had Dawson Garcia had to close out outside. Yep. Justin had to close out outside. Yeah. Theo had to close out outside. All of them did it pretty damn well.
And not only that, but our guards can switch inside and defend. Not that Creighton has a ton of inside presence guys.
That's the one thing they're missing.
But that was the beauty of it, is it allowed our guards to even switch onto their bigs without them being able to do any damage on us inside.
Right. Good, Pete Worth.
Yeah, And the opposite of that, when our bigs switched it on to their guards. I mean, I remember Dawson ended up on Zagorowski, who's one of the toughest matchups in college basketball, and held his own and prevented him from getting into the paint.
Ooh.
Zagorowski 0 for 7 from 3.
Yeah, can we talk about this? Can we talk about the Zagorowski versus DJ Carton showdown?
Yeah, DJ made his life extremely tough. I mean, the defensive effort is what we've all been wanting for years under Wojo, and it's the switchability and the rotations with basketball players with high IQs is really showing itself, and it's
and to see Dawson Garcia get involved on defense finally, 2 blocks.
Yeah, he had that big block down the stretch.
That big block down the stretch was huge, and it's just I don't want to say he's looked lost on defense, but he hasn't been like a positive defensive player, I don't think, up to this point. And he made positive defensive plays in this game, and he looked like he felt comfortable in this team's defense. And I think, honestly, it allowed him to feel a little more comfortable offensively.
I wouldn't bury somebody for looking lost on defense against this team, though. I mean,
yeah,
with
Dawson in previous games this year.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm just saying, if there was ever a game that they would, it's stunning to me to go back to what we were just saying, how well they, came out of halftime and were better defensively and better offensively, and the fact that he went up a level. We watched a freshman go up a level tonight because that's a kid playing against high school competition less than 12 months ago. And now he's out there flying around at full speed, hedging on Creighton ball screens and recovering on switches and then getting back to rebound and busting his ass to the other end of the court to get that was exactly what I want from my center, especially if he's a freshman. That was great. I can't say enough good things. I'm going to pivot us real quick because it merits conversation, because the people we're going to lose their minds over it.
I do want to I just want to say it one more time, just how DJ Carton, if you went into this game, you told someone who wasn't watching Big East basketball that DJ Carton was the preseason Big East player of the year and that Marcus Zagorowski was just some dude who transferred in recently, people would believe you right off the bat. He was clearly the better player.
I want to ask this to both of you, because I'm curious if either of you have a different one. Not just looking away from the stats, eyeball test. Who's the best player on the floor tonight? Either team.
DJ.
I'd say Balak, but
I really like Mahoney's game a lot.
I'd say Balak, or I'd say Carton. I thought
Mahoney's
DJ was
really
that. Yeah, I thought DJ was that impressive. Jump me real quick, guys. The last 40 seconds of the basketball game, I got gray hairs coming in just from it.
Do we have to talk about this? Do our YouTube followers want us to even mention any of this?
Up by 6.
Dabbled.
Yeah, what are
you turn the ball? Up by 6. You turn the ball over. They hit a 3. Thank God, we nearly turn it over on the next inbound, get fouled. I want to shout out because we said it before we started recording. Jamal on the DJ Carton free throw miss, which if Creighton had secured, they would have the ball down 3 and a chance to tie. The fact that Jamal Cain tied up the rebound for a jump ball and Marquette had the possession arrow to then be able to inbound it, Kobe gets it, gets fouled, hits his 2 free throws, and the rest of the game ensues. Shouts to you, Jamal. You didn't have a massive night offensively. That was maybe the biggest play of the night, because thank God Creighton didn't get a chance to tie it.
You know what that play signifies to me is just how much of a team victory this game was.
Yeah.
That play by Jamal, utilizing his best skill, rebounding. He doesn't do much else well, but he'll make the open shot, but he is a hell of a rebounder. That was on display. Garcia, Lewis, Theo was pretty good in his minutes. He didn't have a huge effect, but he made some big plays. Kobe, Carton, Greg, team effort, man. Team effort, which
I want to say something about that too.
We've been missing.
We've been talking about the depth or whatever, and Lavin, is talking about it in the game. And I think he even had the realization. He's like, Marquette's been able to throw bodies at him and blah, blah, blah. And we literally played 7 guys.
Right.
I think he realized that when he looked down at the box score, he's like, huh, they really haven't gone that deep. They've played 7 guys. And that's a testament to, I guess, to the conditioning and being in shape and staying healthy. Can I stop and pause about this? Because let's talk about Marquette is right now in first place in the Big East. 2 games were postponed again today. If you have an opportunity to get wins, period, in this league in this year, put notches in the belt, that's huge, especially to come out of Creighton 1-0 and then going home to face a Seton Hall team that we should beat. To be able to start the season 2-0 in Big East play is absolutely enormous, while there's teams who don't even know when they're going to start Big East play yet.
Well, and just to the fact that we mentioned, I believe, on our previous games pod, look, you're going to have to play Creighton and Villanova 4 times. Can you steal a win? Can you steal 2? Maybe they're not steals, and I need to stop using that freaking verbiage. Like, who knows? The critical, lame question, right? Are we good? This team might be. It's young. It's going to have some of this, right? But like we saw against UCLA, and some of that was officials, and look awful against Oklahoma State. But hey, they're getting better with each game. I would agree. Look, I wanted to roll my eyes, Pete, every time Lavin keeps saying this is the best group Wojo's had, and it's like, really? 2 years ago, the Hauser brothers, they were first place in the Big East with 4 games to go. Really, like that team was. You know what? God, he might be right. He really might be. This is the most complete group. I'm excited.
I think this is also a time where fans need to humble themselves and understand that they may not be able to perceive like how good teams are across time, year versus year. It's really hard things to compare. There's a whole lot of other factors that are always going on. And, it's difficult to say, well, we had Rousey and the Hausers and Howard all on the same team. And on paper, of course, those are some of the best shooters in college basketball history. Who wouldn't want to have those guys on the team? But this year has been totally illuminating, one, as to the fact that defense constitutes half the game, and 2, that team play and sharing the ball and energy and hustle plays is just as viable of a way to win a game as swishing really deep 3-pointers. One's sexier, sure. But I'll take, Jamal Cain digging out a jump ball in the clutch to win a game on the road over Sam Hauser miraculously hitting a 3-point shot off his fingertips at the buzzer. Yeah, that was great. But this was way better. I'm sorry.
That was pretty great.
This was better for me.
You're right. It was 100%.
This was a heavyweight bout, man. And
it's because we could
win, dude.
Right, because we could win that. We can win games in a couple different ways now if our offense shows out. The one thing that can really be a major detractor, obviously injuries, could happen, whatever. That's a given. But our if Symir can't get healthy and provide positive minutes, I'm really nervous about our point guard depth. Susie.
They 100% need Symir to get back in the rotation. I think we've all finally reached the point. I mean, DJ's going to get the majority of the minutes, but that's not fair to ask him. Go for it, Pete. It's not fair, Pete Mohan, to ask DJ Carton through every game in this league to have to play 34 minutes a game. That's you need to have some, and there's going to be days where guys struggle. You need to have something to be able to have some depth at that point guard position.
Yeah,
but I guess that's a problem for another day, right? I mean,
it is. But I think one thing too that and we talked about having fewer turnovers in this game. Something that just seems improved for me is our entry passes. Something that we've kind of struggled with. It doesn't help that Theo John doesn't have the best of hands. He's not exactly Devontae Gardner down there catching the ball, but having Garcia in there and Lewis, 2 guys that look to have pretty good hands. Lewis especially, he's great hands. But our entry passes look better, and our ability to pass the ball crisply around the perimeter without lazy passes seems to be improved. And those things, like we mentioned in previous pods, those things tally up in the turnover column. And to be able to actually enter the ball into the post without creating a turnover is, oh my God, what a luxury.
Yeah, and it almost surprising to see. I want to spin back very quickly, and it's worth noting just because some people are hitting in the chat. John D reminded to point out, don't forget Marcus Howard scored 53 points at Creighton however many years ago. He happened to be We've had some ridiculous
that's the thing. Yeah, I wanted to say
massive games at that. We've won, 5 of our last 6 in that gym, I believe?
Right. The title of this pod, I've named it Owning Omaha for that very reason, that we've won 5 of the last 6 in Omaha, correct?
Yeah,
I will always remember being at a bar in Baltimore, Maryland, home of Justin Lewis, if you didn't know where that, watching that Marquette Creighton game and screaming my head off in a bar filled with people that didn't give a shit about that game, and walking home and realizing my hotel was on Howard Avenue. It was
my God, the fusion. It all comes together.
Oh, and can I mention, I guess this could be a junk drawer thing, but I just wanted to mention it while we're on the topic of those guys, that the Hauser Bowl never happened due to postponement. And oh my God, just what a poetically anticlimactic ending to those brothers' reign. I'm sure everyone was looking forward to seeing it. Personally, I really don't care.
I think the masochists of our fan base were looking forward to
sure,
which I obviously am in. So
that's also the Fire Wojo crowd. They love.
Oh, for sure.
Our transfers do well. That's just a weird, sick part of the Marquette fan base. You know, do what you got to do. It's fine. But I thought it was beautiful. And like I said, as soon as they transferred, if you ain't with us, you're against us. So, I'm glad their parents got to blue balls it with that.
Pete Mohan, you have been consistent on that since day one, since the night happened. I will give you that. It's worth a reset. Marquette beats Creighton tonight, 89-84. They score 54 freaking points in the second half. 1-0 in conference play. Creighton goes to 0-1. Sorry about it. Tough for them. Let's get ourselves into the junk drawer after an unbelievable night. Pete Mohan, I know you got something cooking. Lead it off.
Do I have something cooking?
We need Eric Howard to lead a 30-minute junk drawer session.
I'm like honestly the worst at junk drawer. I'm never prepared. And then we hang up or whatever, and I'm like, oh man, that would have been perfect.
We've had the best.
Why don't you guys go around? I like being the last to order. You know?
Pete Worth always has an astute observation for the people. Peter.
Well, I would just like to point out that Bill Walton, this isn't necessarily like a fun tidbit, but going back to Bill Walton, because we all loved him so much last week. Susie, shut up. Was that Bill Walton called Wojo one of the most not one of the most. Wojo is a legendary figure in the history of basketball. And I was like, well, you just pissed every good thing that you just said just pissed off. You just ruined it with that comment. But maybe he was correct. Maybe this bends the trajectory of Wojo in his appeal to the Marquette fan base.
I'm going to go back to it, and I mean, I guess it makes the junk drawer some sort of analysis point, but it's worth talking about. I'm with you. I don't think we on this pod as a whole we haven't been part of the Fire Wojo crowd, but we've all definitely had our very fair criticisms and have been frustrated at plenty of different points over the years. And Oklahoma State a couple of weeks ago, they were absolutely there with how bad that team looked against a 2-3 zone. But all of us did bounce back to the fact of look, a lot of this is on the players too. And tonight, I want to give it to everybody. I'm sure. I think the coaches did a great job. I think the players did a great job, and that's programs beat elite competition like this. And hey, I'm not saying. Look, I'm not dumb enough to be like, oh yeah, they've arrived. This is it. But this is the effort like this tonight. The effort on defense, the scrappiness, the shooting, the smart play. I think this is what we all kind of hoped a Wojciechowski program would be as a whole. lot to still unfold, but it's nice to see it a little bit.
I think part of it too is recruiting guys that's natural for, and I think Justin Lewis is the perfect epitome of that. Greg and Jamal as well. Just guys who naturally are out there hustling. They don't know any other way. And that's that Detroit hustle right there. I respect that. Go ahead.
We'll pivot to the, unless anybody else has got a junk drawer.
I got one other thing. Kevin Botting just brought up something very wise. It is worth.
Kevin Botting, friend of the program.
Friend of the program, Kevin Botting. Reach out. How did you guys feel about Greg McDermott's Bane mask on the sideline?
Well, I thought
nerve you at any point.
You gotta feel really good about your teeth to do that.
He said it's like a drive-through window for your mouth.
I mean, maybe there are some hearing impaired players on the team who actually require reading lips.
Nothing like being able to see your own mouth moisture out there,
No doubt.
Well, with the crowd noise so loud there these days. It's
right. And I did think, Kevin Botting might be referring to my previous Bane reference, which was on Friday night in regards to Mick Cronin looking like Bane's ugly little brother. But just want to throw that out there.
No.
Something else I want to say, just basketball wise here, Marquette, the 10,000 foot view or more. If you'd like to have a higher altitude, you can go ahead.
Number 14
This feels like a 20,000 foot view you're about to
20,000 foot view. I know it's way too early to be talking about this, but Marquette has 2 top 10 wins.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about building a resume.
Tell me about the resume, Peter.
Not that with vaccines being rolled out, maybe there will be a tournament. Who knows? But hey, look, you put 2 wins that large on the resume early, and you're in especially good shape, especially when you have a Big East schedule that's so flush with good teams. Plenty of opportunities to pick up solid wins along the way. So good start there. They're solidly in the field. If you ask me or anyone else, it's going to be hard to leave a team with those 2 wins out of the tournament field unless they totally shit the bed the rest of the way in Big East play.
No doubt about that. Marquette will be back in action Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern against Seton Hall. We will be here once again reacting to that one. It's after midnight on the East Coast, and people are still watching and talking about it, and this will definitely carry us through the week. Let's begin to wrap things up. Pete Worth, the biggest takeaway that'll kind of carry you through tomorrow and into Thursday, what'll it be?
Well, I would like to just quote the great Jarrell McNeil, friend and guest of the Real Chili podcast that one time.
But you know what? You're a friend forever after that.
Who tweeted out, "Experience is the best teacher, and they got it done tonight. Big win, eagle emoji, eagle emoji, eagle emoji, bicep emoji." Jarrell.
Hell yeah, Jarrell. That's our dude.
Also, another junk drawer thing here. You guys might have noticed I got my Knowles koozie on today. Big win for the Knowles over the Gators. Well, first of all,
Knowles are part of your household, so people
Knowles
know.
are. Yeah, my fiance is a Knoll. Best condol. I don't know what the right word is. Condolences, prayers out to Keontae Johnson and his family. Florida Gators, scary moment there. But another moment that happened in that game. Really good play. If you guys want to watch just a good college basketball player, freshman Scotty Barnes on Florida State. Outstanding large point guard. They're, grooming him to be a little Magic Junior down there. Check him out. Why don't you guys Google this? Scotty Barnes dunk dance. He had the most unbelievable post dunk dance you'll ever see. He dunked on the guy's head, then bops his head and uses the head bop to go into a dance and then starts wiggling. Oh my God, just everyone get to the Google machine, Google Scotty Barnes dunk dance in the Florida game. Unreal. Shout out. You guys got to check out this guy's game.
Absolutely. Love it. Just remarkable. I mean, to come on here,
Shocking to me.
if you'd have told me at halftime we were coming on here to talk about a victory, and I know we were only down by 9, but again, it was one of those that felt like they just weren't going to be able to score enough. And I do remember saying, I'll add this, Pete Worth. I didn't have you as my mid-game X's and O's talk today. That call was reserved for my sister this game.
I thought you were going to say Steve Wojciechowski.
No. I didn't call Steve.
And then credit yourself.
Talk to my sister at halftime, and she was she made the comment on the phone. She's like, the only way they're winning this game is if they score 85 or more, and that ain't happening. They'd have to score over 50. Shouts to Molly Henry. She called it out. Put up hung a 54 spot in the second half to beat Creighton.
I saw Molly Henry on the streets of Chicago walking up to Game 6 of the 2016 NLCS, and I knew it was going to be a good night.
That's just like when I shook hands with President Lovell in the concourse before the Marquette game versus Murray State. I'm like, I just ran into President Lovell, shook his hand. Oh, we're going to win this game.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for the Real Chili Podcast Monday night.
Hold on.
Now Tuesday morning, 12:15 here on the East Coast. Marquette, again, against Seton Hall, 9 p.m. on Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. We'll be on here to react afterward. I don't know what the heck compliment to people it'll be, but we'll figure it out. These are fun. They're even more fun when the team's winning. So they'll hopefully do some more of that, and things will be even more upbeat. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Go Marquette. Have a great night.
Go Susie.
Go Susie.
Susie says, ring one out.
Thank you, Susie.